Got a dream in a tear last night. Watched the world fade out of sight. Seen the ghosts of time preside. Eagles soared and falcons cried. Sleeping phoenix on a rise. Abundance and strange disguise.
Hello, and welcome to Phoenix Rising. Everything about the nature of the world that we live in is that it's a world that is homogenized. Homogenization is really a common term that you hear in human design. And basically what homogenization means is that the vast majority of humanity, through the very openness in their design, are always connected to and reacting to the conditioning field that impacts them. What I like to call the program, that is the transiting field and its neutrino impact on all living beings. Homogenization is dense. This is the not-self world. And yet the not-self world is something that isn't necessarily understood. That is, to really grasp the not-self world is to recognize that within it is the scale of not-self success and failure. The way in which people live their lives, the way in which governments operate, the way in which the world works, is something that is deeply conditioned. And in that deep conditioning, we are conditioned to judge this and that in the homogenized world, as if one is truly better than the other. It is, in the end, not just simply subjective, but it's all part of the way in which the homogenized world wraps you up into things that don't matter, and ties you up and controls you so you cannot live out what is the potential of you as a being. It's not so much that it's the enemy, but it is something that is so seductive to the mind. You cheer some event that takes place in the world in the assumption that this event in and of itself is really unique, is really special. And yet if you look carefully within the construct of the program itself, you'll see that it is predictable, controllable. It's not about what the world's doing. The world's homogenized. It's about what you're going to do with your life. Whether you're going to be lost in that thrall, or whether you're going to be able to live out the possibility of what it is just to see what it's like to be you. What human design offers is your authority, not mine, not the programs. Not the social control mechanisms of state and religion. No, this is your authority. And it is only through your authority you're going to find your life. So don't measure against the background movie. It's not the point. The point is you. And whether or not you're going to put your head through all of that illusion and see what's possible for yourself. Strategy and authority. It's quite a thing. Anyway, let's get on with our show.
Yeah, you probably already hear it. I'm a 5-1 emotional manifesting generator. I first heard about it in 2006, and it was my sister-in-law who had met Dick Nellens, who's a human design analyst, or who knows Dick Nellens, and she said, "This is really something for you." And I looked at it, I was like, what's that? So I kind of started to figure it out and looked on the internet. So it took me half a year before I actually went into the reading, and when I thought of that later, it's the first thing I actually did according to my design, because I'm emotional. So I really took my time before diving into that, and it's been with me ever since. Well, in the beginning it was more on a mental level, so for me I tried to do the generator stuff in the beginning, but I was a manifesting generator, so when I heard that it took 7 years, of course I was thinking, I'll do that in 1 or 2, but now I know it will take my whole life or more. So So in the beginning it was more like, wow, it was mentally very exciting. So the impact for me, after a few years only, became clearer and clearer that it's not at all about my mind. And I knew that mentally, but the impact now is that it's really, I'm much more in my body. I was always somebody, everybody told me that you're so mental and you're so much in your mind, and I have an open mind. So, and I never understood that, and then with human design I kind of started to really sink into the body level, and I'm still in that, on that road. It's still happening, but that's the biggest impact for me. It's waiting. It's allowing myself to wait, and it's allowing myself to. When I'm an independent facilitator, so I facilitate groups, and I'm an independent, so I need jobs. So it's to make it concrete. I don't look for anything anymore, and it comes when it needs to come, and it's waiting as well. It's then when the job comes, it's being able, as an emotional person, to say, I don't know yet. So give me some time, and I sleep at night, or preferably even more. And that has made a big impact, because I can really feel the difference when I have followed it or I haven't. When I kind of let myself go into schemes that I actually was still nervous about, then it doesn't turn out well, or I'm a 5/1, so my reputation gets totally lost. I don't know how to say that in English, but it gets thrown out the window, or and it's important for me. So, but then when I follow it, I'll follow it. It's it's something that really I can feel it. I can feel it when I do what I love, and I really wait for it, and I go for it. Then after a while, it really makes a difference. So. The jobs go better. I meet good people. I'm more in the flow of the thing. So, I try to as much as I can. I responded to it. So, and I have a bit of the easy ones, because I got the nervous one, which is cool. Yeah. So Ra was telling it this morning. So, and I like that one, because I actually was doing it as a kid, without knowing it, because I was always carrying my book around, reading while I was eating. So I was lucky enough, and serendipity brought me in a family of 4. So there was always something going on, and so that was really cool. And at the same time, the other thing is that I have touch, so I need to touch my food. And that I remember as a kid, I was always taking the cheese like this, I wanted it. And that I was not allowed to do. So now I try to, or use bread, or do some practical stuff to try to touch it, because I'm not a big cook. I don't like cooking that much, but I do like preparing it, because I can touch my touch my food. I don't make complicated things, but it's just nice to be able to touch it. And with people as well, it's like I touch everything. So yeah.
Hi there, and welcome to your weekly neutrino weather. And we have an interesting week this week, and well, they're all interesting, but this one has some notable transits, and it begins with the node shifting. And of course, the node shifting is always something that's really significant, because the nodes, they can stay in their opposite gates for as much as 3 to 4 months at a time. So we've had this long-term transit of the nodes in the 15 and in the 10, and particularly the activation of the 10th gate along with Saturn in the 57. We've had this definition of perfected form that's been there for weeks and weeks. And this is something that comes to an end this week. And this is the moment where all those people that were leaning on this, in other words, let's look at it this way. Let's say that you were somebody with the 57 and you didn't have the 10. And there you're going to have the node that's going to be there activating that 10th gate. It's going to activate that 10th gate maybe 2 months, 3 months. all of a sudden you have the whole channel of perfected form and you have it consistently for months. Now, because you don't know that, I'm talking about the not self, there simply is a sense that, you finally got it going. Suddenly you've got the correct behavior, you're really finding your form, you get into whatever you get into, and then this week comes and it goes away. And this can be very, very difficult for people. They have a consistent power that's there that's suddenly gone. They don't have that life force anymore. It's shifted away, and they can be very uncomfortable in that transition. For many, it can be very difficult. And so what's going to happen is that we're going to have this transit from the 15 and 10, and it's going to go into the 12 and the 11. And the 12 and 11 are fascinating. That is, it really represents one of the major mutations in our life, that is the opening up of the throat center for articulation, and the 11th gate, its ideas, where in fact ultimately our need to store history, to create writing, to be able to develop the tools necessary to inspire each generation is inherent in this particular opposition. So it's a really interesting transition. The thing, and by the way, one of the things about that is that the node going into the 12th gate is going to form a definition with Mars in the 22nd gate. So we're going to have the channel of a social being and the channel of an antisocial being that's going to be activated. A lot of strangers in that sense are going to be interacting with each other during that time. And one caution, if you've got a 4th line in your profile, don't get dragged into that conditioning of, spending a lot of time with strangers, or, spending time in socializing with strangers. It isn't something that is going to be healthy for you. But most of all, if you have the 22nd gate in your design, or if you have the 56th gate in your design, the transit of the nodes into the 11 and 12 are going to directly impact you. So it's something to watch. And of course, again, nothing to do, but something to watch. Watching the movie is part of the pleasure. So, enjoy your week. I'm sick and tired of doing. You know what I mean? Doing. Doing. Have you ever really seriously looked at what the New Age offers? I mean, aside from traditional things, and I'll get to that in a moment, but think about the New Age. What does it offer? It offers you things to do. I mean, really, it does. It doesn't matter what master you go to. It doesn't matter what technique you're going to pursue. There's somebody standing there telling you, this is what you have to do this or that. It's all about doing. And all of that doing that they're telling you to do, all of that is in your head, right? All of that is about your mind being engaged in that way, that your mind's being told what to do. Don't do this, don't do that, do this, do that. It's all about doing. It's what religions have always done. Don't do this, do that. It's what governments have always done. Don't do this, don't do that. It's all about doing. Human design, it's not about doing. It's about seeing. It isn't about doing. The doing gets done. Life happens. It's not about doing. It's about seeing, not doing. It's one of the things I tell my students all the time. This is not about doing. There's nothing to do. Watch. See. See, this is the magic of strategy and authority. It's magic. You simply step away from your mind and you let your body have its life. Let it have its life. There's nothing to do. It's the mind that does. It's the mind that's seduced by doing. It's the mind that loves to do, loves to think that it can do this and that and the other thing, and loves to do things that turn it into just sheer horror and resistance. It's not about doing. It's never about doing. If it's about doing, you're really lost. Because then that's all your mind is thinking about. I got to do this, I have to do that. Do. This is the madness of the world. Everybody thinks they have something to do. There isn't anything to do. There's everything to see. When you stop doing, you start seeing. And when you start seeing, you realize that everything gets done. Everything. Life goes on. Watch the movie. Don't get lost in doing. And the next time somebody tells you what to do, you know that they don't belong for you, that they will never be correct for you. It's not about what you need to do. It's about seeing. Follow your strategy and authority and watch.
Caught a dream in a tear last night, watched the world fade out of sight. Seen the ghosts of time preside, eagles soared and falcons cried. Sleeping phoenix on a rise. Abundance and strange the sky.